My name's George Malkmus, founder of Howley Acres, and it's my privilege to introduce you to another edition of the Howley Gardening Guide. Today we're going to talk about carrots. Carrots have played a big part in my life for the last 35 years. In fact, after my colon cancer diagnosis back there in 1976, I started drinking carrot juice, and I've been drinking it ever since. In fact, currently my wife and I go through about 25 pounds of carrots, juicing carrots every week. And so it's a big part of my life. Carrots are a wonderful, wonderful vegetable, very high in nutritional value, have enough sweetness in them to make them probably the most tasty of all the vegetables that we have within the garden. And so we want to share with you today a little bit about how we are going to grow them in our own garden. Now it's fall season, we're just coming into fall season here in North Carolina, and I want to share with you a few of the things that I do as I plant my carrots. Now, something that we need to remember is that carrots are a cool season crop. They do not do well in a hot summer, and so it's a spring crop and it's a fall crop, and of course that's where we are right now. We're coming into the fall season. So we're going to go into my raised bed here, which is located just next to my house here in the villages of Howley Acres, and I'm going to show you how I plant carrots. We're going to start by taking, and I've already shown you in other videos how we made these beds and how we built up the soil within them. And all we need to do now, we've pulled out the summer crop and we've left the ground open, and now we're ready to plant in it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the soil. And then, once I have loosened some soil, as I've showed you in the planting of other vegetables, I'm going to take and put this piece of stainless steel into the ground. I'm going to press it in, and then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to make a V shape within the soil. Then I'm going to take my seed, my celery seed. Celery seed is very tiny, very small, and I'm going to just take that and I'm going to sprinkle it into that V that I have placed into the soil. Now, at this point, I need to cover it. We want to cover it minimally because of the small seed. We don't want it to have to struggle to get through to the surface. So there are two things you can do at this point. You can pull some of the soil alongside and back over, just very gently over that seed, and we always want to make it come in good contact with the soil, or we can put the vermiculite in there, which is something I prefer because it's easier for the seed to come through the vermiculite than it is through the soil. So I'm going to go get some vermiculite, and we'll come back and we'll complete this. I've got my vermiculite now, and I'm just going to take a handful of it, and I'm going to fill up that trench just gently with the vermiculite, and I'm going to tap that in so it comes in good contact with the soil. The next thing I'm going to do is going to take some fertilizer, and I'm going to take this fertilizer and I'm going to lay it right along, just a small little amount of it on each side of that trench. And I'm going to work that fertilizer in a little bit. And the next thing I'm going to do is I want to water it. This is very essential. When you're planting seed, number one, you want to make sure that it is covered to the proper depth. Each seed has a different depth or height of the covering. And then it is extremely important that you make the seed come in contact with the soil. Once we have it in good contact with the soil, we want to get it started and germinating. And so we're going to water that seed in, and we're going to water it in well. We want it to be really wet around that seed. And so with the heat of the late summer, early fall, the moisture, those seeds are going to germinate very rapidly and start their growth. Now, as the carrot starts to grow, the spacing we will not worry about because the carrots take up very little space within the row. And so we do not do any thinning of any kind for the carrots. As they grow, the green will start coming out, and what we're looking for is a carrot of fairly decent size. And when they reach that size, and you just pull a sample carrot from time to time, actually you can just take the top of that carrot and see how well it's developing without even pulling it out. And when they get to proper size, then you harvest them. Now, a couple things that are important. We want to keep these moist. We do not want them be allowed to dry out in their germinating and even in their growing. And then at about 4 weeks of growth, we will once again give them another dose of fertilizer. And this is how I do it here in my garden here at Howley Acres in the Villages. And we're looking forward to an exciting fall crop. Here in North Carolina, we are able to have 2 gardening seasons. We have a spring gardening season and we have a fall gardening season. The fall gardening season is exceptionally good for your winter crops, your cold weather crops like your carrots and your beets, collards, kale, spinach and things like that, because they will tolerate quite a bit of coldness, frost, and even a little bit of freezing. And we can probably be picking produce from our garden right up until at least Christmas time, right here from these raised beds. Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Howley Gardening Guide, and I trust that you have a wonderful gardening experience wherever you live.